What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. Today, I want to talk about some strategies for if your mental health is not doing great. Um, maybe you're facing some anxiety, some depression, maybe even, feeling suicidal. Uh, some strategies that I use myself when I face these, feelings. So the first thing I would say is write down your worries, right? So, you know, depending on what you're feeling, obviously, whether it's you're feeling anxious about something, you're feeling, you know, guilty about something, whether you're feeling, um, you know, some sort of trauma has happened to you and you're trying to get through that. You know, writing down your worries, for me, it helps me out a lot. So, I do some coaching on the side, and I'll get occasionally the person that, right, that's saying, I'm feeling, suicidal because of, I'm in a job that I don't feel like is that amazing, and I feel, I'm feel like bad about myself, or because I compare myself to my friends and I'm not, or it's a breakup and I just uh, feel unlovable, or it's someone who's never been in a relationship and feeling like they're gonna die single. Whatever it is, write it down, right? When or talk it out with someone, because when we take that physical act of getting it from our mind to either pen and paper, or saying it out loud, it relieves our mind in some ways, and it also helps us to realize how irrational we're being, right? you know One of the more recent ones was someone who had gone through a tough breakup and was feeling suicidal. And I had the person talk it through, or write it out, like, I am feeling suicidal because of a tough breakup. You know, it not that your feelings aren't valid, but it makes you realize how dumb it would be for you to take your own life just because you couldn't end, a relationship on a positive note, right? That that I think that's the major way that this helps, is first it gets it from out of your mind and clogging up your mind, till you write it down, and then you realize, oh, okay, this is, I'm not really thinking rationally. This isn't, or, maybe you're in a job that's, an entry level position, and you're, in your late 20s, and you're feeling, you know, really self conscious about that. You know, One of the things when you write that down, you're like, okay, I wrote it down, but now I realize, like, you know, first off, I can only control what I can control. And there were some things that happened where I, wasn't able to get, the amazing job right after school. But, listen, I'm doing whatever I can, and I'm doing the best that I can, and I'm controlling what I can. And ultimately, as long as I feel good about myself, then I'm good. And, that goes to my second point, is remember that the negative voices aren't you, right? That's an important part, right? When we're comparing ourselves and, what our job is compared to someone else, I mean, you know, the comparisons or the judgments, these are all coming from society or from us putting, you know, our friends gossiping about others, and then we start thinking about how other people gossip about us. You know, it's not you. These are, society is telling you you should have a great job at 22. Society is, you know, telling you that you're crazy for being, you know, anxious or depressed. So, you know, and in that point, I think it's important to, you have to be your biggest supporter. You know, you can't be tough on yourself, you know, overly critical, right? You know, there's a certain amount that's healthy, and then there's a certain amount that's not healthy. And, you know, you're human. You know what I mean? Like, no one's perfect. Give yourself a break. As long as you're doing the best that you can do, that's all you can ask from yourself. Third, you know, I would say if you're open to it, I would say seek professional help. Because I think one of the things, especially with people that deal with mental health problems, you know, for a number of years, is that this can help with, you know, first you have someone to talk to about it, and then that person has the knowledge, you know, from a psychological perspective to understand your background, what you've been through, the cards you've been dealt, to understand how, you know, how you're interpreting it, encourage you or give you ideas on how to make it better from a third person objective perspective. So that would be the third thing. The fourth thing I would say is make sure you heal, right? A lot of the times I think that, you know, people that end up taking their life, you know, have a lot of trauma that happens to them, right? Whether it's they're bullied, you know, they might have been sexually abused or raped, or they don't have supportive parents, or they're not in a supportive environment. I think, you know, or they went through a breakup, right? I often get, you know, I think that people don't actually heal themselves from those traumas. And it's tough, right? Like, I'm not saying that it's easy, but I think it's important to heal yourself truly from those, you know, maybe you were an alcoholic or things of that nature, and truly forgive yourself from that time period or from the person that caused you the trauma. I think often people that deal with, you know, pretty bad mental health issues don't heal themselves, right? You know, if you're going through a breakup, understand you're not going to get over it the next day. You know, if you've been with someone for a couple of years, you can't expect yourself, you know, don't put expectations on time of how long it takes to heal. You know, whether if you've been, you know, sexually abused, or, you know, something significant trauma, your parents went through a divorce right in front of you and you were 14. Like, it's so important for you to feel that pain. And it sucks, right? It might take you, you know, 6 months, a year, 2 years to get over it, you know, or to be healed from it. Let yourself be in that state. A lot of times people try to get over that really quickly, and they never really healed, so it stays with them for years on years. And that goes to my fifth point, which is, if you find that you can make changes within your life, right? I mean, a lot of us have the self-awareness to know I'm in an abusive relationship. I'm in a job that's burning me out, or I'm in a, living at home and my parents aren't supporting me and they're making me feel self-conscious about, the job I have or whatever, my path in life. A certain element of this is you are going to have to be self-aware, and you are going to have to, make the changes. And they're going to be tough. They are going to be tough, rough. It's going to be hard. Separating yourself from an abusive relationship, or separating yourself from your parents, or changing jobs or an industry. I mean, these are not easy things. But your happiness is more important. And, the reality is no one should ever feel like they're not meant to be here. No one should ever feel like life isn't worth living. If those feelings are coming to you, it is because of the situation you're in. It's because of, the people that you're surrounding yourself. It's because you're not being your biggest supporter. And you can make changes, as I said before, so that those voices, maybe the negative voices, the critical voices, become positive voices, right? You can go to therapy, or you can, stop being in that relationship. You can stop living with your parents. You can, quit your job. There are actions that you can take, right? Don't, think often, maybe you're in a, highly competitive school environment and you feel like a failure because you got a B, and you have to realize that bubble of high school or college or your first job out of college or whatever, it can easily, you can get out of that bubble. It will go away, High school doesn't last forever. College doesn't last forever. Life does get better if you make the changes, if you create a supportive environment with your friends and, what you're doing in your day-to-day life. So I know I went all over the place, and it wasn't, I wrote down some notes, and, so much of, all of this process of mental health is so individual. That's why it's really hard to give, high level. I mean, there are, there's high level advice, but everything is so situational to the person. It's hard to give good practical advice, but I hope that you understand that you're meant to be here. And anybody or anything or any voices in your head that are telling you that you're not, stop listening to them. You are meant to be here. You are meant to find a happy life. You are meant to find a good life. You are meant to wake up happy and satisfied with your life. And anybody telling you that you can't find that, they're wrong. You can. And so, I'll run through them again. First strategy for me, write down your worries. Second strategy, remember the negative voices aren't you. Third strategy, seek professional help. Fourth strategy, heal. Truly heal. And then fifth strategy, make changes where necessary. I hope this helps. Again, I know I went, all over the place. But, if it does, feel free to share with people. And also, if there's something that, maybe you're someone who's dealt with mental health troubles and you feel like there's another lesson that we could add here, let me know. I can always do a part 2 or a separate video. Thank you guys.